Now, years ago, when I would be traveling around the world and I would go clubbing, I would always see these amazing 10 out of 10 girls that were always out in clubs. And at first I always felt like I could never really approach them because, they're 10 out of 10s. They were all models or minor celebrities, and it was incredible to just be in their presence. But I always wondered, how on earth can I talk to someone like that? And I'm going to tell you today one of the secrets about talking to real 10s. Not your crush that you think is a 10. I'm talking about real model 10s. And this is the amazing secrets that these models taught me about how to talk to them. And I'm going to start by telling you a story about this one particular night that I went out, and this was the catalyst that changed my mind shift completely on approaching 10 out of 10 women. And it actually really elevated not just my game with girls, but my social game, because I started hanging out with models so much after this that I felt like a celebrity myself. And I always got some crazy looks from people because I'm not really the model type, okay? I don't look like I'd be hanging out with models or extravagant people, but I was hanging out with them all the time, having a laugh, and I know that I got loads of envious looks because of this. Now, I was out with one of my mates, and we were out clubbing, and we saw a few of these models, and they looked stunning. They were tall, slender, sleek, gorgeous faces, and they would always seem to be in their own little huddle, They're always at their tables or their booths, and sometimes they're coming outside for a little bit of a chat, but no one's really talking to them because they just seem like they're idolized goddesses that no one is ready to talk to because they're just going to struggle so much talking to them. And finally, I just decided to go, you know what? I'm going to pluck up the courage and just go for it. And I spoke to one girl in particular, and I didn't try and say anything that would try and attract her. I just asked her, why are all models so unapproachable? And of course this put her on the defense and said, well, they're not all unapproachable. And I said, but they are. No one seems to be able to talk to them. No one can ever talk to models. And she said, well, I'm a model, and you're talking to me right now. Just no one ever seems to approach us. And that really struck a chord with me. And I said, well, what do you mean no one ever approaches you? You guys are the most stunning ones in the club. And she said, well, that's from the outside eye, sure, but no one ever seems to want to talk to us because we just come across as unapproachable. But at the end of the day, we're all humans. And if you just took the time to get to know us, then maybe you could be talking to models as well. And that was the real kicker, the real key. Suddenly, I was just talking to her about getting to know her. She already knew she was gorgeous. She doesn't need me to tell her that she looked amazing. But suddenly I was like, well, tell me where you're from. What's your name? What do you do when you're not modeling? What are you doing out in this particular country? Because this girl in particular was traveling around for work. And trying to get to know someone on a deeper level and suddenly making it not about shallow images is the one thing that 10s crave, because their job is usually image-based. They have been told all their time on this planet that their image is what gives them value. But if you give them value as real people, they're suddenly going to melt for you. And that's why you always see these guys that don't necessarily have the best looks, but they're funny and charismatic. They're the ones that are winning over these girls. It's because they want to talk to them as humans. They make them feel alive. And I'm going to tell you some secrets about girls that are real 10 out of 10s. Even though they're always gorgeous, the good chance is that they are so self-conscious about their image, guys. if they have been told that their image is what gives them their power, their value in this world, that's very difficult. That's a big weight for them. So when you start giving them value about something that's not to do with their looks, they're going to really get attracted to you. They're going to be so happy to talk to someone that treats them like a human. And the things that models have told me really surprised me. One girl in particular, she was laughing all the time with me, but she always hesitated to laugh. And I said, "Why don't you like laughing?" And she said, "I'm worried I'm going to get smile lines because I don't want to look old." And that made me feel really sad for her, because laughing's meant to be one of the easiest pleasures in life. And so that's when you can start complimenting them on things that maybe they've not heard before, that they have a beautiful laugh, or their smile is something that makes them look glowing and makes them look human instead of just being this perfect model all the time. Their image and their title shouldn't be the only thing that defines them. Now, this is a really hard thing for guys to wrap their heads around, because we're so physically attracted to girls that is sadly one of the things that our biology and psychology puts a lot of weight on. We do like girls that look pretty, but girls really crave that emotional connection. And I talked about taking girls off of pedestals if you think that they are a 10 out of 10. That is gonna be another thing to bring up here. Remember, they are still human. Even the most beautiful girls have flaws. You need to focus on those flaws to bring them down to a human level so that you feel like you're on the same playing field. Now, like I said, 10 out of 10 girls are usually insecure about things that you would be so surprised about. And sometimes it's to do with their image and it might be about something else. But I remember I dated a model that was so gorgeous, but she was so much taller than me. And at first, I thought that I was going to be the one that was insecure about my height because she was taller than me. And I'm a bit of a short king, I'll admit that, okay? And usually people want to take the mick out of short kings, you know? They want to say like, you'll never get someone that's taller than you, or that it's a thing that holds you back. But I remember she said that she was so insecure about her height because she always felt like she was taller than everyone. But nobody even cared that she was taller because she was so gorgeous. And what she would do is she would crouch down so that she could be at the same level as everyone, and, you know, that starts to hurt people's back. And she always refused to wear heels when she was around me because she didn't want to look too tall. And what I did was I empowered her because I didn't want her to feel insecure when she was my partner. But what that did make me notice is she was insecure about things that loads of people consider to be an asset for her. Models are meant to be tall, they're meant to be sleek, they're meant to be skinny, they're meant to look beautiful. And sadly, that's just the reality of their job and what we live in the world. And you might have your opinions against that, but that is the reality of the world. And models know this. So if you start treating them more as humans as opposed to prizes to be won, you are going to be getting 10s all over the place. And even if you don't get 10s, I'm going to tell you why talking to 10s is the best thing that could ever happen to you. And that is because of the pre-selection effect, or the wing girl effect that I've said before. If you're going to become friends with a model, because I made a lot of friends with a lot of models and even dated a few, but being in a circle of models, I was in the higher echelon no matter what club I went in, because people knew who I hung out with. And if I'm not dating a model, then that model was going to be my wing girl, because any girl that I would approach afterwards will be comparing herself to the company that I had. Now that sounds really dark and manipulative, but again, that is just the reality of this world. And If you have friends with people that are so attractive that other people are attracted to you just from you hanging out with this person, then that should be a good enough reason to approach anyone and treat them like a human being and not just a prize to be won. Tell me guys if this resonates with you or if you got any value out of this, because this was one of my super powerful effects that helped me when I was traveling around and always meeting beautiful people, because I was hanging out with beautiful people and that effect would create me to meet other beautiful people. And you end up meeting some wonderful humans and making some great friendships and relationships. And just remember that they're still human. They still eat, sleep, and shit on the toilet all the time, even if they're 10 out of 10. They just want to be spoken to like humans. So be the first one to do that and you are going to stand out. If there's anyone that you think is struggling with upping their social game, tell them to skip a level and go straight for the top. And that is going to make a massive ripple effect afterwards. And let me know if you've ever had an experience like this before, because I know so many people that have, and it really changes their mindset on who they can approach and changes their mindset on what the reality is out there for dating tens. Anyway guys, I don't believe in courses. This is all for free. I'm not going to sell anything to you. Just keep on sharing this amazing information to our fellow men, because we need to know how we can up ourselves, make ourselves feel better, make ourselves feel powerful when we go out there, and keep on seducing, because we are the prize. Take care, guys.